Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm your host, Jane Mountrose, here with my partner and founding director of Awakenings Institute, and our very special guest, Susann Taylor Shier, who is an intuitive counselor for the heart and soul. It's one of our favorite subjects, heart and soul. I think we're going to have a wonderful time together. So Susann's chosen topic today is owning your sacred value and your divine worth. It's a beautiful topic, and I think we're going to have a great time with it. And Susann brings a wealth of experience to this and many things spiritual. We've known her since the 90s and still really live by some of the things that she's taught us. So please stay with us for some valuable insights and ideas. And then Susann is going to guide us in a special meditation that you can take with you. And as always, we'll end by sending our collective love and light out to the world. So before I begin, I do want to thank you for joining us. The Circle is here every week at this time to light up our lives, help us to heal, to grow, and stand as beacons of light for the world. I also want to remind people who are with us live that we'd love it if you would say hi, tell us where you're from, and feel free to comment because we really appreciate everything that you have to offer too. Mm-hmm. And before I introduce Susann and our topic, I just want to take a very brief moment to center ourselves. I think I found just sitting and breathing for a minute or two, and this will just be even less than a minute, probably makes a difference. So for those out there, if you can close your eyes, if you're in a safe place, just take this time to focus on welcoming all the beings of light who are with us and breathing in some of that love and light for yourself in this moment. And just feel yourself becoming more present in your body so we can all be here together. That's great. Thank you. So now I want to turn to you, Susann, and ask you to start us off by sharing a little more about yourself and then why owning your sacred value and divine worth is so important to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jane. Beautiful to be with you and Phillip. And this is just a very special time in this circle of love and light that's going out to the world. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this in so many ways. So about me, I've been working in the field of, the work that I do is called Soul Mastery, helping you access the gifts of your soul and understand the challenges at a soul level. We've all worked with many things for a long time as it relates to our particular challenges. And I love to work at a soul level because you get right to the root of things.
Right.
Always refer there, and I work with the Akashic Records, the Akashic Record field, and you can always go into shifting the whole Akashic Record field when you tap into your soul, because your soul is connected to everything everywhere.
Right.
I started doing energy work like Reiki. It was called attunement. Oh, let's see, that was back in 1973. Wow. Many of you weren't even born.
Years ago.
For many years. And then I started adding pieces that became soul mastery and guided journeys to a person's home world, to their other dimensions, to connect with their universal self, and all sorts of fun things like that. So that's about me and what my mission is in the world. And owning your sacred value. That's just such a beautiful topic for me, because not only the word sacred is so amazing. To start with, anything that is sacred matters to us, has meaning to us. No matter what we want to manifest, it starts with a little flame in our heart of something that is meaningful, important. When you add the dimension of sacred to it, you are bringing in the whole universe with you, because the universe is a sacred energy pool, right? So when you own your sacred value, you are valuing your sacred nature, your being, your soul, your heart, what matters most deeply for you. And when you have that force with you, so to speak, your sacred value, let the force be with you,
Right.
what it is you want to create.
Force be
Creation
with
comes
you.
first, and then manifestation has that feeling of I am not only worthy, but I am that being that is just letting the energy of my value be placed with meaning on this particular thing or situation or person that matters to me that I want to create with.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I want to welcome Barbara Clark, one of our dear friends from Sacramento. She says, hello, glad to be with you. So welcome, Barbara. And Philip, would you like to share?
Just to say hello or about the subject, or what were you referring to?
Whatever you want to say.
I think it's a great topic. And that is, it's interesting to look at the world, which we often think is very mundane and automatic and practical, which it is too, but from a deeper level, a spiritual level, a more heartfelt level, where we have a sense of why we're here, what makes us tick, what this is all about, really to make it meaningful. It is a choice to make it sacred, and it's wonderful to focus on that. I'm glad you chose this topic, Susan, which you're eminently qualified to discuss.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much. Well, I find that this matter of self-esteem, I don't use that word because it's sort of overused and it feels quite human sometimes. But sacred value takes us even deeper than the topic of self-love. Again, we've all done so much as it relates to self-love and loving every part of ourselves and accepting ourselves and being with all of those pieces of us that have not been loved. And taking it deeper is owning the sacred value of every aspect of us as well. So, for instance, if you are feeling fear, we've all felt fear once or twice in our lifetime. And if you go, oh, that is that aspect of me that actually is being protected by fear, which fear does, right? It's a protective mechanism to keep you from getting hurt in a certain way. And you put it in place. God only knows how long ago. But that protective mechanism of fear, if you go into the sacred value of it and start to go, oh, that was holding something for me, that I now want more than I want the fear. So if it's love, we all want more love on the planet, in our lives, etc. The fear is the protection to keep us from getting so-called hurt by love. Well, love as a divine value is sacred and it can't be harmed or hurt. It's our emotional realm that can get hurt. So when you're in your place of feeling that you are of value and of value as love in your very beingness, then you drop in more in your body, because value goes into your abdomen as well as your heart. Then you drop into this place of, I am valuable. My life matters. And you feel that in your whole body, then the fear can dissolve, because the fear was, yikes, well, what if you're important here? What does that mean about the other people that are struggling in the world? How can you be special and important if they're struggling? You need to put your attention on them all the time, because we got to get them out of the struggle, right? And actually, our own sense of sacred value allows us to feel in our energy field as an inspiration to uplift from a subconscious level, often other people out of the struggle. Hope, knowing, possibility, anything can happen differently, magic, miracles, all of that starts to percolate in another person, versus me moving out of myself and going, oh, let me help you with your struggle. I'm worried for you. I'm afraid for you, right? It's like, no, we all have sacred value. I'm going to offer some of that through my radiant field, and you will feel more aligned with your sense of value, even if you're struggling.
Right.
That's a long sentence.
And I love the way you use the term also divine worth. I think, well, they go together. over the years, I've come to understand the way we perceive ourselves really to be the bottom line in the spiritual journey. There are a lot of details, different emotions and things, beliefs going on, but really the essence of it is our perception of who we are. And it is the transformation of that perception really that is what awakening is about. And so I think that the more we can understand that each of us matters and that each of us is impacting everything else. I think you mentioned just briefly about the Akashic records, how they can change. Well, when one person's record changes, it's like it's that idea, Phillip might know better than me, about like a butterfly flutters its wings and it affects the whole universe. If you start to understand how every change you make is changing your lives and then broadening out who knows how far, we all matter deeply. Yes. We matter deeply.
Yes. So I would say when we talk about self-worth, before now, we said, I am worthy because so-and-so loves me, so-and-so validates me, so-and-so hired me for that job. That person, if you're a healer, wants to come see me. I have a business, I have this, I have that, has been that sense of self-worth. And we get so tripped up in that we have that feeling that they determine, whoever they is in our world, our sense of worth. And yes, this sense of sacred divine worth flips the whole thing around, because then your sense of worth is in how you feel on the inside about yourself versus how are you doing in relationship to the reflection of everybody else. And, you know, everybody's working with their own emotions and feelings and own stuff all the time. So we can't get our sense of self-worth from them. We're all barely getting it for ourselves in the first place. Right? So we can only inspire. Yeah.
Well, and recognize that every one of us, we're a magnificent soul that came here with a plan. So whatever it is that you bring as your gifts, your talents, your skills, whatever it is, it's all by design. And it's exactly who you're here to be. And I think that really simplifies things. It's like, I don't have to try to be this other person. I have to just be me, which actually is pretty easy if you can let go. But that letting go is the challenge.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's ironic that, as you said, many, especially holistic-minded people want to help others, which is wonderful, but don't help themselves. So there's an imbalance there. And you mentioned inspiration. I think that is one good place to do it. How do you help yourself or other people become inspired?
Oh, boy. Different things all the time, I have to admit. But I would say the main thing is to really feel connected. And I would call it being connected to the Akashic field. Can sound very vague. Connecting to God or source, people say to me all the time, I don't know what that looks or feels like. I like to help people and help myself feel connected to a field of creation. And we're going to do a guided journey today to help you be able to do that. But knowing that there is a guidance collective, not just a few guides. People will say to me, you know, who are my guides? What's my purpose? Just give it to me in a linear lineup. Tell me what I'm here to do or be. And, you know, what are my gifts? And I am happy to give people their gifts and their propensities at a soul level. But it's qualities of spirit, really, that people want to focus on. My gift is a quality of spirit, and then you can use it in infinite ways. So being able to tap into through the form of meditation I do on my own, for myself, etc., is to feel and experience that quality of spirit that I'm wanting to have more of, whether it's peace, love, confidence, value, money, whatever it is, the universe is holding that as a quality of spirit. Everybody wants more money, abundance, right? So you want to ask yourself, what is it that this abundance, this money would bring me? How would I feel, right? So a lot of people would say I'd feel free. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about if you felt free in yourself? Then the world is a reflection of us. Then the freedom that you want from the money is already in your energy field. And so the money can come to you to magnify that freedom. So what I do is I will help either myself or another connect with that universal quality of freedom. The key is to bring it into my heart, bring it into my body, feel that sense of freedom. And then I don't feel like I have to have the money to be free. I'm free, and I would like to create the money or whatever form of abundance it is, again, to magnify that freedom.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is something really, if for people, if you haven't thought about this, I think it really is profound. We've found asking people, if you go to the bottom line with any topic, and I think money is a good example, what is it that the money is going to provide you? And from my experience too, the thing that people say most is freedom. And it's interesting with a lot of those things, like if you want something, what is it going to provide you ultimately? What's the bottom line? And you can have that freedom now.
Yes.
Maybe not to the degree you could if you had enough money to take to take a trip around the world or whatever. But it is really the experience of it that you can have. And then, as Susan was saying, then you're in a really wonderful place to be able to add that as a benefit of being free.
Yes, absolutely. And then the money has more of a sacred value to it.
Right.
Or whatever it is you're creating has a sacred value to it. It isn't just a thing that you want because you have this idea in your head that if you had money, you'd be able to travel around the world. Well, a lot of people might have money to travel around the world, but they don't feel safe to go anywhere. So what's the point, right?
Right.
We have to build from the inside out. It's like winning the lottery and blowing it. You know, if you don't have that sense of value for yourself, then putting value on something outside yourself, like money, tips the scale and doesn't increase your value. It makes you feel like you're only valuable if you have that.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful when we allow ourselves to look at things from that sacred dimension, I think, because it frees us from all of these mundane things that we concern ourselves with. And then a lot of those things, they're no longer important, which I think is very freeing in itself. Yes. If we can just free ourselves of all of the chatter, or some.
Yeah.
You know, none of us are perfect, but
right.
It is a beautiful way, I think, to frame things.
Yes. And when you frame it that way, then there's more space in your creative field for things to come to you, because it's just a magnification of life. The more life you have moving in you, which is love and light coming into the body, becomes life energy, the more aligned you are with life. And I find that being enlightened is actually, on planet Earth, is being in love with life itself.
Yeah.
Feeling the life pulsation through you, feeling the oneness of connection to all life, and being in joy about having a body, being in life. And that is what, floats our boat and makes us feel that we are, yes, purposeful, but also connected to something larger, which is life itself, and being able to enjoy our life. Because we know the bottom line for everybody is we want to be happy.
Right.
And you say that person doesn't look like they want to be happy. They look like they want to make everybody else miserable. But really, they think that's going to make them happy. So that's always the bottom line, to know more life.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is really, it's built into, we have a holistic approach to things. It's built into our energy system, the thymus gland, which is right, you can't see through, buddy. It's right here in the center of your chest, right in the heart area.
Yes.
Its focus is on aliveness.
Yes.
And if you also wonder about what your purpose is, one of the keys is those are things that make you feel fully alive.
Well,
so the things like I'm good at accounting, but that's not my purpose. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's your purpose. The things that really are meaningful to you, and it is in your heart, that those are the things that make you really feel alive. And like for me, this is it, love and light. I'm here. I'm doing here what I want to be doing. Right. Those are things to explore.
Another way of saying it, we sometimes is using the word aliveness. That seems to be another good descriptor. What makes you feel alive? What makes you feel present? They asked Joseph Campbell, the famous writer, the hero with 1,000 faces, what are people looking for meaning? He said, no, actually, they're looking for aliveness. And in the aliveness actually is the meaning. So what makes you, if you're walking in nature or petting a dog or taking a trip or breathing the air, doing something you enjoy, expressing your gifts, whatever, you feel very alive in that and in the zone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're embracing life, as Susan was suggesting, just the joy of being alive, opening to that. And we measure things a lot of times, SUDS levels of things with EFT and different things that we do. And it is interesting when you're thinking of something like, gee, how would it be if I went in this direction? Well, how alive on a scale of 1 to 10, how alive does that make you feel going in that direction?
Right. Yeah, that's really great. And adding to that, which Phillip said so well, is what if you're like, well, I don't know what makes me feel alive. You can ask a good friend, partner, family member that knows you and you feel understands you. What is it that you emanate? What is it that you emanate that you may not know is as natural as breathing for you?
Right. And that's part of the problem sometimes.
There are
our gifts. They're so much
qualities.
a part of us. We take them for granted, and then we compare our weaknesses to other people's strengths and feel bad about ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So being able to be in touch with that is a wonderful thing. And, when you talk about aliveness, I know we are in a time where we're talking about the rise of the feminine, right? Very important, the rise of the feminine. I'm not putting that down at all, but we want to see that really what, the feminine in its largest sense represents all life, all love, all light. Now, where does that put the masculine? You could say, well, there's no place for it because what we're talking about is, a feminine light and love and life being feminine. Where's the place for the masculine? Well, the masculine holds a sacred connection to all of that. Now, that's a whole lecture right there. But what I want to say is when we're talking about the rise of the feminine, we're really talking about the rise of feeling alive. And feeling full in ourselves to give our sovereign self expression. It gets to a point where it's not feminine and masculine. It's really the rise of the wholeness of our our sovereign self feeling alive and feeling free to be that love.
Right. Well, and to have the energy to take action on the things that you want to create. And that just going back to masculine and feminine, that's the masculine part. You need to have the part of you that is ready to go out and manifest something related to what it is that you feel you're here to create.
Structure and action.
Right.
Well said from a masculine.
We do need that too.
Yeah, we need
structure and and I find discipline is part of the masculine that many people in a spiritual world don't have.
Right.
When people say to me, well, how were you able to write 4 books? I'm like, you'd say it's not the ability to write, and yes, you have to feel good about the fact that you have something to say and all of that, but discipline is part of it. So
It is for sure.
every day I would say, okay, I'm going to give at least 15 minutes. Because it wasn't that I'd stop everything and write a book. I'd say 15 minutes that I promise God or love or the universe that I'm going to do this. That makes it sacred and meaningful at a deeper level. And if at the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired I forgot or didn't have time. It's like, oh, I promised love that I would write for the sake of love, for the sake of the divine, for the sake of God, whatever it is. And then you just sit down with that in mind, not because you're afraid you're going to get whooped if you don't.
God doesn't do that.
It's like, no, this has sacred value to me, right? This has sacred value to me. And that connection is feeding me. And boom, I do it and it would just flow. Yeah.
So you make a commitment to yourself, sort of a sacred contract to do something that you love or meaningful.
Yeah, but you have to have the discipline, like we were saying, to do that, because it's like we make a promise, it's really valuable for me to do exercise or lose weight or whatever those things are. Man, if you don't hold a sacred space for yourself in it, that habit goes down the road. You have every excuse under the sun to go back to the old way, because you have to have, in many these programs, whether it's Weight Watchers or a gym thing, they say it's important to have someone you're accountable to. And that is very true. If you have someone in the outer to be accountable to, that's really helpful. And if you have something in a sacred, meaningful space within you that you have you're accountable to, that really revs it up. And I'm letting the universe down, or I'm letting love down, and love really matters to me, but not now. Doesn't cut it.
Right. Yeah.
So you're doing it for yourself on a deeper spiritual level.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing it, you'll do it for your boss to get a paycheck. You have to show up. You have to be disciplined every day to show up to work if you have a job or if you ever had one.
True.
So why not do it for yourself?
Right. And I think you have to get over what we sometimes call the honeymoon period. Any new project, it's like, oh, this is the greatest thing. I'm so excited. I'm going to write a book. Well, 3 weeks later, wow, that was harder than I thought. I think I'll maybe do something else.
Right.
And a lot of people skip from one you could call bright, shiny object to the next. It's like, oh, this will be great. I think this will be much better.
Yeah.
But he's all, what are you talking about? But I think it is important to realize that you have to get to a point where it's much more, well, you can say disciplined or intentional. It requires a stronger intention to follow all the way through. We're writers too, and I know very well how that works.
Yeah, a deeper, stronger sense of value and meaning than just that excitement that says, oh, I would love to do this.
This will be great.
Yeah. So exactly what you're saying is so true, because you will burn out if it's just, yay, I got to do this. It makes me feel like you have endorphins.
Can only take you so far.
But it is. And then the joys in the journey too, to be on that journey and to have the discipline to see that things are falling into place gradually. And the journey is, it also is, it's kind of like you were saying, people want to know, well, what's my value? What's my purpose? It's kind of like, I'll get all these things out of the way and then I could just coast or something. It isn't your purpose evolves too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we create it as we go. That's the beauty of these days, because you could easily look at what's going on in the world and go, what is the purpose of all of this? Where does this fit in? Could we possibly be getting anywhere creative if you look at just a snapshot? But if you have a larger view of knowing that there is something larger and you get to change course continually, that's important. It's not like, okay, anything is set in stone anymore at all.
It's like, there it is. It's all there.
Process, and it's all up to us, the choices we make now. As we know with something like climate change, for instance, It's up to us what happens with the climate change. There is no God that can come in and change that. There's no predestined idea of how it's going to flip, or, you know, how we're going to survive or whatever. It's up to us. And that is the sign of the times. There, you know, certainly nature and life is doing everything it can to up the frequency so we can hear the call and respond. And as you said, move with structure and the other words.
Discipline.
Yeah, and action. Do something about it. Yeah.
Will, you know, will is another pretty masculine word, to have the will to follow through.
Yeah.
You know, to just really be committed, I think, to it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And that
that's not to say also, if you realize something is wrong, is like, this was not the right thing for me after all. I think there are times when that's true.
Well, it could be
But
just a stepping stone.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, I'm here, but now actually I think I've got this V in the road. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
Just make sure that it isn't just laziness. Like, oh, that was too hard.
Exactly. We don't quit on ourselves.
Right.
Recognize that life is a process. Yeah. And that's how it rolls, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah. And just taking that next step, that really helps me, because if you look at something like climate change, it can seem overwhelming and impossible odds.
Yes.
There was David versus Goliath, and you just don't know when that inflection point, that tipping point. So just taking little steps, you don't know when the critical mass is going to happen. And there is a shift on the planet by adding more and more light in those little steps. Or it might be a personal goal, seems overwhelming for your weight or for your diet or whatever it is. Just taking that one step, or writing the book. I could write one paragraph, you know, or I could do one push-up or whatever. You know?
Exactly. And
act from your heart. I think in terms of the environment, if everybody was coming from a loving place, the environment would correct itself.
Yes, it's true. It's true. And I love that phrase, a David and Goliath moment. I've used it numerous times, because we have to have that kind of faith and knowing. It's a Lord of the Rings moment too. I love that story as well. There's so many good ones, but David and Goliath is a great one. I remember when the war in Ukraine first started, I got an email from some diplomat, something like that, not a politician per se, who said, we have to come up with creative solutions here. And we will take anything you want to send us. We need creative solutions here, which I thought was beautiful. And that's part of the David and Goliath, is David's doing the creation dance. You know, I want to, it wasn't just survival. It's like, I'm going to get creative as to what I can do in this situation, and not be downed by the largeness of Goliath and its so-called power. Power. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And many people, you know, are afraid of power, afraid of human power, don't like it in the spiritual sense. It's like, I don't want to have anything to do with power. I use the word and they're like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with power. It's human power you don't like, which is misuse of power.
Right. Yeah.
Spiritual power is your spiritual fire, is your sacred value. And getting in touch with that form of power in your abdomen allows you to move forward with a sense of having a foundation that's a connected foundation.
Yeah. So does this feel like a good time for the journey?
Why?
Meditation.
It's always a good time for a journey, right?
Yes.
We're continually on one.
We're ready. Buddy's ready.
Good.
Aren't we, sweetie pie?
Okay, so how about, is there anything that comes to mind from either of you that you want to have be lit up or experienced, or any of that? I have a thought that I want to incorporate the three of us and what we value. And if there's nothing, you're just like, whatever, that's fine too.
I think the idea of creativity itself is a great one, because a lot of
Mhm.
people think, well, I'm not creative. And they think, well, I can't draw a picture or I can't whatever. We're all creative. We're creators. So creativity would be one I would.
Okay,
enjoy.
great. Good. Okay. Philip, anything from you?
I think following up on the theme of making the world kind of a brighter, more loving place amidst all the turmoil and challenges we face.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we're going to do is put those two together, which is always my fun, creative, spiritual challenge. It's not a challenge in a bad way. It's like, ooh, this is fun, how we incorporate both of those. So we're going to do a little visualization to bring creation in and show how it transforms the world and allows the world for us to see the world as a vessel for creation. No matter how it looks like on the outer, it is a vessel for creation, no matter what. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So everybody, feel free when you're listening to this. You can pause at any time with this recording if you're not live today and slow it down. We'll take it fairly quickly. Everybody has a different speed, I'll say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And
So
that's part two,
okay.
honoring your own way of.
Yeah, unique. Oh my
Right.
gosh, your authentic nature, your sovereign sense of creativity,
Right.
how
Yeah.
you create. So everybody just put your attention on your beautiful breath and connect to a source of light that you know and trust. It can be a visual, it can be a feeling, it can be creative imagination. We can imagine anything. We're such creative people. So imagine a light source that you know and trust. And as you do so, breathe that into what I call your sacred heart. That space behind your heart that is a sanctuary for all things sacred, beautiful, and love-filled. No emotions can come into that space. So as you bring that light in, allow it to penetrate and then just flow into the rest of your body. Feel that light lighting your whole body up. And as you feel that light in your whole body, all the way down to your toes, bring it back. Breathe it in, even down your spine today, it feels like. Breathe that light in and then bring it into your heart like a flame in your heart. See that flame, feel that warmth, whatever it is for you. And as you have that in your heart, feel in your heart, I want to connect with creation, the field of creation, the access point for creation, the waterfall of creation. I want to access that. And imagine that source, love, heaven, whatever you want to call it, is speaking to you saying, I want you to know this. Feel your excitement. Feel your excitement that the universe of you wants you to know more creation, more access to your natural creative self, because you are designed to be a grand creator. And feel that sensation of the universe, your guidance collective, whatever it is, saying to you, come be with me where I am. And feel yourself moving out of your body, so to speak, this human dimension, out into the universe to a visual field that is so filled with creation. Imagine it. What is creative to you? What is creative to you? Is it colors? Is it nature? Is it water? Is it animals? What denotes creation for you? And feel that there's a whole field. Maybe it's a safari of elephants in creation. Imagine that. There's a creative field. Maybe it's stars twinkling in the night. Let yourself feel free to connect to creation. Maybe it's the magic of flowers. See it, sense it, go into it. Let your body rest for a minute. Don't be thinking of what's going on in your body or your joints or anything like that. As though source energy itself is offering you this gift of tapping into creation as an infinite field. And maybe it's just a star or a ball of gold, liquid love. And feel yourself, whatever it is that has come forward for you. I'll just be quiet for a moment so you can focus on you and not my words. And imagine that this creative field that you are connecting to, that you're imagining right now, is truly part of the Akashic records of your soul for creation. Because the blueprint here is that we are grand creators. And then take that visual, that image, that feeling, sensation, whatever it is that you're imagining now, which is the way of spirit, imagination, move that into your heart space. Bring that waterfall, that container of gold, that star, that nature. Down into that sacred heart space. And then breathe that quality of creation into your abdomen, because this is the womb space for creation. Maybe you can't stuff it into your abdomen because it's already full of whatever, but feel yourself painting it on your abdomen, knowing that every time you breathe this creation field, you're breathing it in. You're pregnant with it, male or female, you're pregnant with it. And feel that light in your heart that ignites this creative field. You can bring that light down into your abdomen. That light from your heart of love. And as you bring it into your abdomen, I want you to imagine this creative field in your abdomen, and then we're going to add the world to that. I want you to imagine a globe in the world, a globe in the world, in your abdomen, that you are creating for the world that lives in you, which is the only world there is, this light of creation surrounding it, the whole world with this field of creation. The way it's showing up for you, blessing the world, bringing it in. And you can return to this anytime. Anytime you want to bring something to the world to create from, rather than feeling like it's suffering. Oh my gosh, what's going on there? What's going on there? I want to bring creation into that part of the world through my radiant heart and body. And just see what percolates. See what happens. And enjoy the aliveness that you have increased for yourself and all. And just come back into your heart space to complete. Thanking that beautiful light that you know and trust for being with you. Thanking that beautiful field of creation that is yours for being with you. All the guidance, all source, all that is with you. For the love, the light, and the creation that is now at your fingertips in greater ways than ever before. And so it is.
Thank you, Susan. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Susan.
I'm in this kind of.
Good.
Have to-
Good.
What do you think?
With
Bud?
that.
Beautiful. That was
That was great.
beautiful. Yeah.
Good, good. And did you enjoy being able to bring it into your abdomen with the whirl?
Yeah. Yeah. That was different. And of course, it's resonant to me. I want to create a better world. So
That's right. That's right.
that's my
So,
focus.
yeah. Yeah. So when you hold that world inside you, because that's really where it is it's our world, you know, how we see it, how we want it to be starts from we say that it all starts from the inside. Can we bring the globe, the world into our abdomen and embrace it with gold, with whatever it is you want to bring in of creation? Then you are upping the vibration here and now in a very magical way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a good lead into where we want to be toward the end of our time together, which is really that to be a gift to the world. It is just being the gift of who we are primarily.
Yes.
Because then, as you just said, we're shining our light out all around us, and it's influencing and affecting everything.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
And that's how change is going to happen and is happening. It is happening.
Yes. Well, the more light there is on the planet, the more the people who are outside of light, which wait, hold that thought. The more people are outside of light go, oh, wow, that's a cool possibility. It becomes a bright and shiny object versus something that's being held back and hidden and secret, and because we really don't want to bring it out. It's not valuable, or people might not see it as worthy. It's like, no, we're going to shine our light to give others the opportunity to go, wow, that's an awesome choice, because everything is about, our moments are about choice. What do we choose? What do we choose? That's the beauty of free choice. We have choices. And we know, all of us, even though, the three of us have been around the block for a while, what sparked us was somebody else's light, right? That started the ball rolling. Somebody or a group or whatever it was that, wow, there's this light shining. I want to be part of that, or that is what I'm here for as well, whatever it was, or just an attraction. So the more light there is, which is a soul purpose right there, just keeping that little flame in your heart going, the more light there is, the more there is the choice for others. And that it can make a huge difference in the world.
Be the light and shine it on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we know that. I'm going to use the example of what's going on in Ukraine.
Right.
A president who said, I'm going to hold the light.
Yeah,
and we have put up with this forever. And we have a purpose. We don't care if we have to die for it. We're going to hold this light for freedom. And it's a worldwide quest. So, it has a divine mission to it. And the people there have that same divine mission, which is beautiful. That's what creates the change. And that's what brings the light. And that's the inspiration. Just one that the whole world knows about. Many, there are many.
But he wants to eat the planet. Yeah. Yeah. And that is really, I think that Ukraine has been, I think, a lesson for hopefully many people to show that when you recognize what's truly important, then things change. Your focus changes. And for me, it just kind of looking at all the things that we've been talking about here, sacred value, our divine worth, that sense of aliveness. If everyone on the planet was fully alive, doing things that made them feel pure joy and bringing out the best within themselves, it would be a different world.
Yeah.
And it is because
that.
we repress that it is that people feel that they have to compete or someone else might get it instead of me. We can all have it.
We can. It's been shown too that there are many people in third world countries that are happier
Right.
than any place else.
Yeah.
And it's because that's all they know is that we're here to be alive and value life. And they value life. And that is so key, as we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's in motion.
It is. And I think that any of us who understand it and we can inspire that in others, that's a real gift. That was something when I felt I didn't matter years ago, when I realized, well, if I can just bring one person to a more loving place, I've doubled my impact.
Yes.
What if it's 2 people or 10 people?
Yes.
And also then I looked at it as kind of like this snowflake. It radiates out from one person to the next.
Absolutely.
So it's not like, obviously it's not any one of us. Right. It's all of us together.
Yes.
I want to mention also Barbara Clark mentioned what a lovely experience that was, Susan.
Oh, good.
It really was.
Barbara, I'm so happy for you. That's great. Yeah. You did it, Barbara.
Right. Yeah.
You created that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
It's quite and I think just for having the circle, I always feel good. And part of the reason we have it on Sunday is because this is energy that we can use for the week. We can set our intention for the week to be more alive.
I like that.
And to even share maybe some of the things that we've learned here with other people. Because again, if we can multiply each of us, our impact, things can change in really magical ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And lives, just if you think of the kind of the difference between being stressful and being joyful, they take us in very different directions on all levels, and just in terms of physical health and longevity. Well, people think love is this fluffy thing. It's actually very practical. Love and joy and all of these things take us in a real positive direction.
Yes.
In all ways.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
And we can take baby steps. I feel like people often will say, well, I don't know much about joy. It was never shown to me, etc. Just take baby steps. And every day, notice the magic that's around. One day you could say, I'm going to notice magic. Another day, I'm going to notice joy today. Another day, I'm going to notice evidence of love. Another day, whatever it is, to start to increase your resonant field of that being real in you. That it's like, oh, yes, that's joy. Oh, that's an example of joy. Yes, cool, wonderful. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have this, we've written several books, and I'm actually writing one right now.
Oh, yeah?
It's called Follow Your Heart and Share the Love. And I'm intending for it to be a free book. I just want people to get it out there.
Yeah.
And that we have this thing we've done for quite a while in several books called prescriptions. You can have doses of love and happiness that you take every day. And it does produce chemicals in your body. If you just experience a little happiness and aliveness, it changes everything in your body, and it's free.
Yes, that is so true. That's a great way to put it, a prescription. Yeah.
So you can take as many doses as you want.
Yes. You can infuse your, supplements and vitamins that you take with those energies, just like, putting love on the side of your glass of water, etc. Just infuse it and say, my intention is that this water I'm drinking or this supplement I'm taking is going to increase my joy.
Yeah. And I actually, there's that messages from water thing. I have, this is getting kind of beat up looking. I have to have this this cup so that the dogs don't knock things over. But inside of it, I have written love and light.
Oh.
So every time I put my water glass on, it's infusing it with love and light. So you can have your own kind of coasters.
That's perfect.
Or put little stickers on your glasses. Actually, if you have stickers of hearts, then they'll remind you to think of it too. There are just so many little things we can do.
It's true. Yeah.
And it doesn't take much time either. That's another part of it. Right. It's not like you don't have to meditate in a cave 5 hours a day to be more joyful.
Thank goodness you Yeah. Years ago, it used to be the only way to get there, but
not now. Right. Another thing I always recommend. Selenite is do you use selenite, Susan?
Yes.
It's an amazing stone. It clears out negative vibrations and it has a lot of light in it. I just love looking at this thing. You can get little sticks of it. I don't have one right with me, but if you just hold it, I think it makes you feel better because it's clearing out some of the distorted energies that are interfering with your joy.
So many things we can do. That's a great one. That's a really great.
Yeah. I think selenite hearts. I think it's such a beautiful thing. They have these on Amazon. I don't sell them.
No, I know.
I just recommend
them. Moon. I like my selenite.
Yeah, you can get plates to put things on, and there's all kinds of selenite, different things you can do with wands and towers, all kinds of stuff.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. So we're close to the end. Susan, would you like to tell people how they can find out more about you and what you're doing right now? I know you mentioned you had something going on that is noteworthy.
Yes, actually. So my website is called soulmastery.net. Soulmastery.net, not com, but net. Or Susann Taylor Shier, you can Google and you'll find me. And one of the fun things I'm doing right now, which is still open for you, is I'm doing what I call an immersive masterclass. And it's called Own Your Sacred Value. And know your divine worth and open to your heart purpose. So it is, and you can get whenever you listen to this, it will be in recording form if the immersion is already complete. It's June now. But what it will do is give you tons and tons of experiences, like the guided meditation we do a number of those. We'll do way more exercises to really allow you to feel very viscerally that beautiful sense of your sacred value, your connection, your intuitive worth, your capacity for intuition, helping you with that empathic nature that is exhausted right now, and being able to fill yourself with more resources so you aren't just automatically giving or feeling other people's energies, et cetera, which can be a real problem, and dissolving all those self-sabotaging mechanisms that everybody has to being their own sacred value, which is their greatest superpower.
Right.
Feeling sacred value is your superpower. And it's time for us to feel that sense of we are the superpowers of the planet.
Right. Yeah, I think Phillip just put the link up there on the page. There's Nikki. So, and Susan. Nikki Wood and Susan or Sharon Williamson are here. So wonderful. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Susan. And Phillip, would you like to share what's happening at Awakenings Institute? Anything?
Yes. We have our coaching and healing program, which is actually a big comprehensive program starting next week. It's June 14th at the time of this recording. So that's something people might want to check out if they want to develop mastery in coaching and healing and the kind of things Susan was talking about and what she does too so well. Go to, and I'll put a link up there, but a tinyurl.com/HOL coach is the shortcut, tinyurl.com/HOL coach, and check out the coaching and healing live certification program that Jane and I will be teaching starting next week.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And for everyone out there, if you want to support the circle, there are some things you can do. You can like our page, which is facebook.com/awakenings circle. You can share this video with your friends and get the word out further. And you can invite your friends to join you in the circle and share the joy. So thank you all for being with us, and thank you again, Susan. Stay with us, Susan. We'll talk a little. And the last part that we usually do is send that love and light and fill your whole week ahead with it, because it's there for you. So bye-bye, everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you both
Susan.
very much. Thank you.